Welcome to Rathalos Watch. This is the 18th episode of Should X Monster Return to Monster Hunter Wilds. Today we'll be discussing an old school monster from the third generation of Monster Hunter, Great Jaggi. As always, we'll delve into the monster in greater detail, covering its first appearance, overall reception, memorable aspects, visual design, combat style, and ultimately, whether it should return to Monster Hunter Wilds. We'll explore how Capcom could potentially bring back the monster, what they should or shouldn't change, what new interactions they could implement, and how the monster could fit into the next generation of Monster Hunter in terms of mechanics and design philosophy. We're nearing 1,000 subscribers, so if you've been enjoying this series or want more hardcore coverage of Monster Hunter Wilds, then don't forget to subscribe and also feel free to join our Discord community and speculate about Monster Hunter Wilds with passionate fellow hunters. Link is in the pinned comment. Without further ado, let's begin. Great Jaggi is classified as a bird viverine and was first introduced to the world in Monster Hunter 3 on the Wii when it was released on August 1st, 2009 in Japan, and less than a year later on April 20th in 2010 for the USA, and 3 days later was released in Europe on April 23rd for the Wii. This monster also made an appearance in the 4th generation of the franchise in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate when it came out on February 13th, 2015 in the USA, but was already out in Japan on October 11th, 2014 for the 3DS. Great Jaggi was one of the earliest monsters you'd face in Monster Hunter 3. He was also the pack leader of the Jaggi and Jaggia. Jaggi are the small males and the Jaggia are the larger females. And obviously, Great Jaggi is the male alpha, leader of the pack. Great Jaggi can be first encountered in a 2-star village quest, Pain in the Plains, in the Sandy Plains locale. There are also 2 additional quests in the high rank where you fight a Great Jaggi in the desert island and Misty Peaks. Great Jaggi can range from the smallest gold crown size of 822.27 centimeters to the largest gold crown size of 1261.31 centimeters. Fun fact about the Great Jaggi is that he is always assisted by 2 Jaggis at his side, and if they are killed, he will summon 2 more. He is also very popular among the Monster Hunter community and placed 68th place in the Hunter's Choice for the top monster during the Monster Hunter's 20th anniversary. Oh, and he is twice as fast in the G rank expansion in Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate. However, he does not gain any new attacks or abilities. Great Jaggi is memorable for quite a few reasons, but I'd argue that the biggest one is nostalgia and the fact that he's kind of a meme in the Monster Hunter community. I'll explain the meme part in a bit here. For many people, Monster Hunter 3 and Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate were their first introductions to the franchise. Despite Monster Hunter 3 having a relatively small roster of only 27 monsters, many of them were really well designed and left a lasting positive impression. Great Jaggi was part of that history. He was an early game monster and sort of acted as the teacher monster for the 3rd generation of Monster Hunter, just like how young Kutku was the educational monster in the earlier generations. Both are bird viverines but are very different. One is able to fly and the other one is only able to traverse and fight on the ground. Great Jaggi is also quite grounded in terms of visual design and looks like your typical dinosaur. His most distinctive feature is its frill covered in lavender scales with crimson and tangerine accents on the frills and abdomen. It also has fur growing along its neck and down its back to the middle of its tail. Its muzzle is thinner and more wrinkled compared to the other bird viverines. While the tail has barbs on both sides, they are blunt and primarily used for its tail whip attacks. He actually resembles a frilled lizard more than anything if you'd want to compare him to anything in real life. Oh, and yes, you can break his frill by hitting him in the face. The meme around him really comes down to his combat style. He has a very limited moveset that's easy to read and predict. His most common move is a double tail whip, where he hops and tries to hit whatever's behind him twice. If you hit him in the face enough times with a shield bash, he'll get stunned, and using a hammer will do the job too. The stun lasts a few seconds, giving you some easy free damage. He also likes to perform a full body slam. If it hits you, you'll get knocked back, but honestly, by the time he finishes the animation, it's so slow that you can easily dodge it unless you're not paying attention or it's happening off screen and you have your sound off. He'll also try to bite you from time to time. Out of all his moves, this one is probably the fastest and hardest to predict. The best way to avoid it is to stay to his side rather than standing directly in front of him. What makes him such an easy monster to defeat also is his tendency to perform a summoning call for Jaggis to aid him in battle. This call lasts several seconds, during which he doesn't defend himself at all, leaving him completely vulnerable and open to damage. One thing I do appreciate about him though is how Kiropeka can summon him to fight the hunter. Kiropeka is one of the best bird viverines in Monster Hunter that needs to come back to Monster Hunter Wilds. If you haven't seen my video on Kiropeka yet, then you can check it out by clicking the card in the top right corner. There are also times where he even hits and kills his own Jaggi by spamming his tail whip attack. It's quite hilarious. That is pretty much it for Great Jaggi in terms of his combat style and why he is considered to be a meme in the Monster Hunter community. Despite all of that though, he is still a fun monster to kill for some reason, and he is more of a nostalgia drug than anything else. Being the lower tier monster that he sadly never got a variant. It would have been interesting if Capcom did introduce some sort of a subspecies for Great Jaggi, but they never did. In Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, he is pretty much exactly the same. So with that being said, should the Great Jaggi return to Monster Hunter Wilds for the memes aside? Believe it or not, I think he would fit perfectly into Wilds. And no, I'm not trying to cope here because it's nostalgic to have him back. My first game was actually Monster Hunter Freedom Unite, so I don't really hold as much nostalgia for him as those who started in Monster Hunter 3. Great Jaggi first and foremost would 100% be a pack monster. I mean, his intro video in Monster Hunter 3 is literally called Leader of the Pack. The first monster to ever be be introduced to Monster Hunter Wilds was the Doshaguma, who has a face of an ugly giant mole rat, with a lion-like mane combined with a bear's body and feet. The Doshaguma Alpha always travels in a group with 2 additional smaller Doshaguma. Great Jaggi also always travels in a pack, and he even summons additional Jaggi when the first 2 are killed. On top of that, he can also be summoned by himself by the Kurapeko, as previously mentioned. If this was the perfect universe and we could have everything we ever wanted in the next entry of Monster Hunter, then both Kurapeko and Great Jaggi would return to Monster Hunter Wilds. Both of these monsters fit perfectly into the design philosophies and new mechanics of Monster Hunter due to their synergy and lore. While Great Jaggi is definitely an easy monster to defeat and has become a bit of a meme, I think he could be much more of a threat if he assisted a larger monster. This would give him a fresh purpose in the game and essentially be a full rework, making his presence more meaningful rather than just a joke. However, I don't think a single Great Jaggi with a small group of Jaggis would be enough, given how easy he is to beat, unless they completely reworked his abilities or made him a bigger threat on his own. Perhaps we could see multiple groups with several Great Jaggi alphas roaming in the places like Windward Plains. Also, it's worth mentioning that in one of the older trailers we saw a pack of Talioths attacking the Chotacabra. Smaller monsters now travel in packs to take on big ones. It would even be interesting to see regular Jaggi and Jaggia on their own traveling together without the alpha leader attacking a Chotacabra or even a Doshaguma. Best case scenario would be Kurapeko returning alongside Great Jaggi and both have a symbiotic relationship with the whole summoning thing. I could see them being some sort of scavengers who are disrupting the ecosystem and preying on herbivores like the Aptonoth. And yes, Aptonoths are confirmed for Monster Hunter Wilds. There was one spotted in the new village, but you had to look very closely. You can see it in this rather low quality screenshot, but it's the only one available. Despite the fact that Great Jaggi is considered a meme by most hunters, everything is lining up absolutely perfectly for his return, such as the herd system, the locales, the scale, and the evolution of how monsters interact with each other and their surrounding environments in Monster Hunter Wilds. I believe Great Jaggi would be a fantastic addition to the next big entry in the series. For older players, his return would bring a sense of nostalgia while also offering a fresh, more engaging experience thanks to the dynamic nature of the new monsters' AI systems. At the same time, new players would get a chance to face a monster they've never encountered before, experience the evolution of a popular classic. Pairing him with the return of a Kurapeko, which is another fantastic bird wyvern, would make for an exciting addition. Do you fellow hunters believe that Great Jaggi is a good fit and deserves to return to Monster Hunter Wilds? Or would you rather see something completely fresh and new? How do you see him interacting with other monsters? Let me know your thoughts in the comments and tell me which monsters you'd like me to cover in future episodes. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit like and subscribe with notifications turned on. Peace out and happy hunting.